I want to quickly talk about lead types. So you mentioned final expense. Can you explain, I guess, your journey from final expense to mortgage if you do IUL? Can you just talk about your perspective on the different lead types and your experiences with those lead types?
Guys, here's the key thing. Okay, when it comes to lead type, you got to find the one that works for you.
Hmm.
Okay, you can make $1 million a year doing IULs. You can make $1 million a year doing annuities. You can make $1 million a year doing final expense, whatever. Right? You got to find what you like the most and stick with it. Right? And then if there's something else that comes along and you're like, hey, this is other people are doing well with it, I don't recommend you come stop what you're doing to focus on that. A lot of people done that mistake. I'm guilty of that. Okay. And so what I recommend is sprinkle some of that in until you get the hang of it and it's something that you really enjoy, then you could go full and board on that type of lead type at that point. Okay. But I started like a lot of people more like, final expense and general life insurance. Okay. Which is great. Okay. Which is great. But then, I ran into, so I started realizing, especially when it comes to final expense audience, and this is nothing wrong with them. It's just basically just how it is. Okay, guys. Some of them are not technically savvy, right? And so we're
Yep.
in a day where basically like you could do an application with text, okay? And some of them can't go on to click on the link to sign the application, or they don't know how to work their phone, or do I even ran into some people who still have a flip phone, so that happens, okay, guys. So when it comes to transitioning more to like, and then also like basically like just charge back, right? Final expense you tend to have a little more higher chargeback ratio. The reason why is because of the fact that again, a lot of them are on fixed income. Okay. And again, nothing wrong with that. Just you gotta understand the demographic and you gotta just work your way around it. Okay. And so and I was doing decently well with the final expense leads and so forth. I was making about ten to $20,000 a month. And then when I heard about mortgage protection, and our lead, we don't have a mortgage protection lead source right now at my IMO. And that's when I got introduced to you, Trey. And I was like, you know what? I really want to do this because I hear some really cool things about it. Okay. And so again, I made the mistake of jumping all in the beginning, right? Which is a learning experience. I'm just that type of person. But at the end of the day, guess what? It accelerated my growth. Okay. And now we're doing pretty well with mortgage protection. I feel like, and again, this is just me personally. Okay. I feel like mortgage protection, there's more logic to it. It's not just an emotional sale. It's also a logical sale as well. So what do I mean by that? The numbers has to kind of make sense to what they're trying to get accomplished. Okay. We're not just leaving money behind. We're talking about, hey, with this allow my family go ahead and pay off that mortgage or pay that for them to live in that house for like 2 3 years or what the case is. Okay. So there's that logical aspect of things where it kind of just have to make sense. If it doesn't make sense to them, then it just doesn't make sense to them. Okay. Which is fine. Okay. Your job, guys, is not to try to close everyone. Okay. Your job is basically is find the people that's willing to go through your process. Okay. Which I think is a mistake a lot of us try to do because think about this, right? When you walk into a Mercedes dealership, the transaction or the experience is different than you going to like I don't know, a Honda dealership, right? And so same thing. When you take someone through a mortgage protection experience, it's gonna be a different experience than you taking through a final expense. Okay, I'm actually more logical based. I'm asking if the spouse is not there, and if she's an important decision maker, right? I'll schedule a time to go ahead and basically have her on as well, right? Or just like if there's more in depth things that we need to talk about and so forth, then I try to basically figure that out as well, right? And the cool thing about mortgage protections basically is it could lead to multiple things as well. Like for example, we did a mortgage protection sale the other day, and this is and we actually ended up rolling over $100,000 from her retirement account, from her 401k
Hmm.
account.
Yep. Yep.
Final expense ain't gonna happen. Does that make sense? So, you could find a lot more things out of mortgage protection. Okay. And here's the key thing, right? Mortgage protection gives you the avenue, that opening. I spoke with someone who he ended up not doing anything just because of the fact that it was just he felt like he didn't need it, whatever the case is, right? But this guy had a $7 million in assets. Okay, liquid assets, by the way, right? I tried to pry him out what type of assets he had, but he didn't tell me, right? But it shows you the fact that the type of customer you're getting is basically the type of clientele that are walking in to your door, to your store, or tend to be higher end. Okay. And so far I have never had an issue with a mortgage protection person lead who has technical issue. They know how to work, Zoom, or they know how to hop on, go on their email and click on the application, e-sign it, or through text sign or whatever the case is, we have never ran into that issue so far.